All right. So tonight I am largely going to focus on, give me a second here, checking out some stuff that a couple of coworkers asked me to run through and upload a video for. So I'm going to do that first, and then we will look at writing a whole bunch of Medium articles in a real hurry. All right. Where do we want to start? Here. Docs. Not that. Whoops, that wasn't what I wanted either. Come here. File, new, blank. There we go. All right. So what I wanted to do here was spend a little bit of time showing you and really my coworkers, but showing anybody who stops by or watches this how to train a ChatGPT, or we might try it on Bard too, just to see how it goes. But unfortunately, one of my experiments today did not work. I was really hoping that I could create a sort of shorthand for ChatGPT, like basically a private code, so that instead of some of the longer prompts that I deal with and use to try and get the results I'm looking for out of, I can just, enter in one word sectioned off by uh, slashes here. And the idea was that would save me a lot of time and just streamline the whole process. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually seem to be working. I'm having to request the things that should have been appended by default if this was working right. But what we're going to do instead is we are going to, let's see, what's a good one for my job and my coworkers? Compare and contrast the advantages and disadvantages of the top 5 website site builders. Ironically, I could just leave those typos and it would be just fine. Include links to each and a breakdown of their pricing. Now I am using one plugin here that lets me just change the tone and writing style and language, which I find very helpful for the kind of things that I do. I've got it set to informal because that is closer to the way I write, generally speaking. And all right, Squarespace, Wix, WordPress. Oh my. And I don't see a certain website builder here at all. Top 5 website builders by market share. We'll do 2022. Best 5 website builders for 2022. Wix, Webflow, BigCommerce, Wix, Flow, BigCommerce, Elementor. That's an interesting choice in Divi. So this is pretty heavily aimed at WordPress and WordPress knockoffs. Anyway, not a big deal one way or another there, of course. All right. Well, all right. So we've got our rundown. Rewrite as an article. Include GoDaddy's websites plus marketing builder in the comparison. All right. So you can see here, it doesn't take long to get a completely different version of what you've already put together, which is an incredibly handy thing if you're a writer, because a lot of times you put something together and you go, oh, I don't know, that's okay. And then you want to try 3 or 4 more things, but you only have time to do 2 more things. And that tends to, in the long run, create a sense of urgency and often very good outcomes. But I think you can do a lot more by running through all this stuff and actually playing around. All right. This looks like it's good enough to go on. All right. So what I'm going to do is hit Control V, Control A, Control Shift 1. I think, no, Control Alt 1. Nope. We're going to hit Control Z, I guess, and then we're going to go to Format, Text. Oh man, what was it? Control A, Alt Shift 1, Control Shift 1. Z, Control 1. Nope. Clear formatting. All right. Well, anyway, I'm just going to pause for a moment here because there's nobody here, and this will be a really convenient time to restart this video. Well, not restart this video, but it'll be a good place to cut out a highlight later. All right. So we've got our original request here, compare and contrast the advantages and disadvantages of the top 5 website builders, including links each and a breakdown of their pricing, and include links. All right, we ran through this. You can see that Websites Plus Marketing doesn't actually show up on a list of the top 5 website builders. And obviously I picked that since I am, you know, doing this for a couple of coworkers who want to kind of see how it's done. All right, so ChatGPT has spit out a nice article here, and then we're going to go into how to train it to turn okay articles into really quite good articles. All right, so we're going to look at this. Match, track changes. I don't know where track changes is on Google Docs. Somewhere in here, I'm sure. Doesn't matter. All right. So the biggest thing you need to do, first off, right off the bat with any of the like natural language learning AIs, is because they learn from probabilistic models of humans in general, they consequently incorporate most of our bad writing habits. The way that the average person communicates is not actually the way you want to communicate if you want to get really good results and interaction with your readers, viewers, whoever. All right? So it has gotten better, I feel like, just since the last iteration. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through this, we're going to edit this, we're going to change it into something better, and then we're going to feed it back into the ChatGPT interface, the algorithm, is going to take that and you're going to say, do it like this instead. And it's going to learn from that. And I've already trained it that way for my stuff. So this is a repeat of what I've already done, but I did find it to be extremely effective, almost as someone who gets paid to write, almost alarmingly effective. But all right, that's okay. If they stop paying me to write, they'll have to start paying me to tell ChatGPT what to say. All right. My touchscreen isn't working correctly. Give me 1 second here. That almost always means that I've forgotten to plug something in. Got the screen. Where is my, aha. All right. Well, nothing I can do about that right now. So we're not going to worry about it. Okay. I'm not going to draw pretty diagrams this time. I'm all out of USB ports, which is just an embarrassing problem to have in this modern world we live in. I can either get rid of the mouse or I can leave the pen input off, and I think I want to keep the mouse. All right, Wix is one of the most popular website builders out there. All right, first off, you'll notice that this is, considering we asked it to give us an article, a pretty crappy intro. So almost always with intros, whether they are written by humans or, I don't want to try it for free, I just want to write a line. Whether they are written by humans or by AIs, you can get rid of the first sentence or often the first paragraph, although in this case that would get rid of everything, and actually have a stronger intro. In a lot of cases, actually, the way we're trained to write, because we were trained in school to lead up to this conclusion and build up towards this conclusion, which is a great way to think through problems. It's not a great way to write. Oftentimes, the best thing you can do in an essay to make a strong essay or article is take what was going to be your conclusion and prop it right up there up front, just straight up at the top, and then tell everybody what the conclusion is, and then go and support it from there. If you've done your job doing what you originally planning to do of building up to that conclusion, that means that you will have a great case supporting that conclusion. But you're going to have people walking away with the key point, even if they only read like one paragraph, and they're going to be primed to accept what you're saying from the start. Like, tell them what to believe, then give them the reason, if you want to overly simplify it. So with the rise of website builders, anyone can create a professional looking website in just a few hours. Any phrase you see that is a short phrase sectioned off with a comma is probably garbage that you should get rid of. There are exceptions. There's exception to every rule that I'm putting out here. Experience is what lets you know when you are and when you aren't arriving at an exception. But in this case, in this article, we can get rid of. Everybody knows that what we're talking about here is in this article, right? We don't need to say, in this article, we'll compare. Obviously, like that's what we're doing. All right. We'll compare and contrast the top 5 website builders. I had it add GoDaddy, so we'll just say top website builders. We probably want to make this active. So let me make this a smaller line. That didn't work. That made it bigger. Oh no. Get rid of that. All right. Give me a second here. Where are you? Line size. There you are. All right. We'll go with small. All right. So another thing we're going to want to do is we're going to look for verbs, and we're going to see where they are weak. We want them to be active. Hey Leo, welcome to the chat. I'm actually running through editing right now. For the idea here is training an AI to write well instead of just write okay. A couple of my coworkers asked me to do this because we were talking about it on Friday. So I'm going to go and run through it for them and then, upload it as a highlight. But in any case, if you're interested in writing or anything like that at all, this is, I guess, a fun way of, or a fun romp through what AI is good at and what is bad um, in it. And also, I mean, I do write for a living, so, you know, I'm not terrible at this. I guess I count as an expert. All right, free tutoring. No, compare and contrast top website builders. So right now we've talked about getting rid of a weak intro. Good, that is music to my ears. I also love writing. Enough so that I left one career to go and pursue this one. And I am a corporate sellout, but it turns out it's not all that bad. I would have spent fewer years as a starving artist if I'd known how nice life was as a corporate sellout. You want to go to school for it? Um, that's pretty exciting. I will tell you, you don't have to go to school for it to pursue it. Like my background is in um, biology and chemistry, and a lot of writers come from different backgrounds. It's more something you have to. You can go to school for it. I'm not trying to dissuade you from that. I'm just saying there's a lot of roads that you can take to get there, and there's no circumstance where being a bad writer is good for you or being a good writer hurts you, right? Like no matter what career you go into, if you have a good grasp of writing, because writing is communication and 90% of getting anything done is effective communication with other people, um, it'll help you out. So what kind of writing do you like? Do you write fiction, nonfiction? Then you're probably already really good at it. Also break down their pricing so you can choose the best website builder for your needs. We'll keep that for now. All right. So here it's trying to write headers, but it doesn't really know how to do headers. That's okay. Um, it loves numbered lists because humans love numbered lists. Particularly humans that write blog articles love numbered lists. Fiction and horror. Ooh, so like Stephen King type stuff or what? I mean, fiction in general is great, but good horror writing is really hard to do. But man, when people manage to pull it off, it is impressive. Yes, sir. I really like Stephen King when he's forced to write shorter shorter pieces. Like some of his stuff where he just gets to like go on and on and on. It I lose a little bit of interest in it because I'm like, all right, man, you don't. I get it's supposed to be suspenseful, but sometimes squishing it down a little bit is better. But then again, he sold like a million bajillion books, so what do I know? All right, Wixspace is one of the most pop. You can see it says popular, popular, popular. That's a thing that tends to happen in all of these articles that any of the AIs put out. Popular, 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 or like not specifically popular, but like it'll pick a word and it'll just fixate on that word. And I haven't actually figured out how to get rid of that. That is one of the things that I'm still messing around with, trying to make it, work out. Yeah, me neither. That is, I actually think that might be one of the reasons I got into writing because, like, I can start a thing and then get completely distracted and then come back to it, and, like, it's still there because I wrote it down. I suspect those two might be linked, but I'm not 100% sure on that. All right. Wix is one of the most popular website builders out there, and for good reason. Uh, when you say things like one of its advantages is that that is a word you want to look for because sometimes it's necessary, but it's a really good signaler word that you're in a phrase that doesn't need to be there, right? Um, like this entire phrase, when you really look at it, it doesn't need to be here. One of its advantages is that you don't have to say that. You can just say it has, and if it really is an advantage, it'll speak for itself. It has a user-friendly drag and drop interface, which makes it easy for anyone to create a website. That's actually so like you can compare those two sentences, right? One of its advantages is that it has a user-friendly drag and drop interface, which makes it makes it easy for anyone to create a website. See, I couldn't even get through the whole sentence without messing it up. Or it has a user-friendly drag and drop interface, which makes it easy for anyone to create a website. Now, which is another one to watch out for because it is there to take away from active verbs. So right here, you've got making it easy to, yeah. Uh, I think this should be pretty good. Let's see, Wix has a huge selection. Also is like an iffy word. Usually you don't need it, but oftentimes it helps pace things a little bit. So you can find one that fits your brand best. However, one disadvantage is that now this is something they teach you in high school and college. Um, you're supposed to always build transitions between paragraphs and ideas. So basically, you've got to transition into a paragraph, transition out of a paragraph, transition into the next paragraph. In real world writing, that's a pretty bad way to do things. It's just creating drag. And one thing I really like about my job is that I get access to a lot of data on how well my writing is doing. So I have a really good, because the stuff I write goes out to um, thousands to millions of people depending on what it's in. Um, yeah, depending on what it's in. So I get to look at what works and what doesn't. I found that the the way I like to think of it is like every paragraph in every sentence, especially in the modern era of like the internet and phones where people can just go to the next thing when the second they get bored, is it's basically a transaction. Like I have to be giving that person enough in that sentence that they feel like it was worth their time to read it. And if it's not, they're gone. Like just like that, they're out. What is it you kids say these days? Like yeet, I think. I'm just kidding. All right, pricing for Wix's paid plans range from. All right, we're going to put that on its own paragraph here. Now, all right, Squarespace is another popular website builder that is known. All you can say, like here, so many extra words. Squarespace is. We need one more word in there, a little tiny one. A popular website builder, and again, see how that is signaling something that doesn't need to be there. You don't say that is known for. You can say, comma, known for its sleek and modern designs. One advantage of Squarespace are all design. Here we might have to move things around a little bit. Or we can say, and there we have that, it's templates. See, there's that. Features. So Squarespace features templates designed to be mobile responsive. Once I finish this, I'm going to try to write like, I don't know, we'll see if we can get through like an even dozen articles for Medium on AI. Choppy writing's okay. It can even be really good if you're using it in the right context. It helps when you can break up the pace a little bit. People tend to stick around a little bit better. Again, it's like an experience thing. Like sometimes you can get away with really long sentences, but oftentimes it's worth it to just stick a really short one in there, especially if you want to make a point. Like it's easier to take really abrupt writing and turn it into something good than really wordy, convoluted writing, because in many cases it's just adding a few conjunctions here and there when you need to space things out. It also depends on what you are writing. Like when I'm writing fiction and I want a scene to be really tense and nervous and fast-paced feeling, one of the things I do is I shorten the sentences and I spread out the paragraphs so people feel more anxiety as they read through it. It keys them up. Kind of the same way like when you have that like off-key music or that really kind of short, abrupt music building up to things, like it puts them in a mindset where they're not comfortable with where things are going from one second to the next. Um, Overall, though, like my thing with writing is that it needs to be like your goal is because people are lazy. Writing should always flow. Sometimes it's a lazy river. Sometimes it's rapids or like a sudden drop off. But either way, you kind of need to be pulling people along. Like your job is to get them from one word to the next, one sentence to the next, one page to the next. It's just building and building into that. Weebly. All right, here I am getting distracted again. And you can see how it's sort of fitting into like this really predictable pattern. Good thing, and then a however. Um, we don't need a however here because the however is implied, right? You only say however, Squarespace can be a bit more difficult to use than Wix. You can just say Squarespace can be a bit more difficult to use than Wix, especially for beginners. And like the meaning is clear. Nothing has been lost from the meaning. So we're still communicating the same thought. We're communicating it in less space, and we're not putting the same weight on the reader. Uh, or I guess you could say we're putting more weight on them because we're expecting them to figure some of this shit out for themselves. But that's okay, I think. We also don't need to say website builder in any of these now that I think about it because this is a review of website builders, right? All right. The only place we're going to use it is here at the beginning. All right. Price for Squarespace. Okay. Weebly is a website builder. Weebly is popular. Now, with this one, we haven't actually run into it much, but one thing I look out for that's a great tip if you're trying to, like, if you're finding your writing to be like overly formal, it's not conversational enough, one of the best things you can do is add contractions. Um, like, that is to that's, for example, can'ts in place of cannots, aren'ts in place of are nots. It's usually the more informal you can make it, the better, up to the line where it's too informal, right? Because like some things you need to be a little bit formal about, some things you can be less formal with, but you always want to toe as close to the line as you're comfortable with, because informal writing tends to feel more comfortable for people to read, and they tend to read it and enjoy it just more naturally. In my experience, it tends to perform much better. Uh, Overly formal writing, especially in the modern era, tends to put people off because we just don't see it very often. Uh, a big part of my job is taking things lawyers have written and turning it into something that is like workable for human beings. Because, I mean, I love lawyers. They make my life, because I work in a corporate sellout world, they make my life infinitely, infinitely easier. They're some of my favorite people, but a lot of the stuff they give me is like an 1860s uh I don't know, soldier breaking up with his long distance girlfriend. It's like it is with greatest sorrow that I must inform you that unfortunately events have transpired which necessitate the cancellation of your product. While we're sorry to see you go, please do understand. It's ridiculous. Um, all right. Shopify is a website builder. Guess what? We know that. Shopify is, there's that again. See? That. Always look for those that's. They are a great indicator that you can get rid of an entire section. Easy for anyone to create online store. Okay, here is another weakness specifically that we run into with things like ChatGPT. It doesn't really have a memory. It works off of basically probabilistic functions, and it has a memory in the sense that it sort of remembers what it did before, and it weights things in sentences that are linked to it more heavily. But once you get to like a new paragraph, it doesn't really remember what it said in the last paragraph. Any idea? Oh, thanks for following. Um, so you can see that it says one advantage of Weebly is that it has a simple drag and drop in interface, which is pretty close to what it said up here for Wix. So what we're going to say is Weebly also has a simple drag and drop interface. How long have you been writing? Well, like you, I started writing when I was really young, and I did it for fun and as a hobby. And I always wanted to write books someday, but I went to college and I got a biology degree, and then I went to grad school, and I was about halfway through an organic chemistry degree, and I was just not happy. And I decided to take some time off. And while I was taking that time off, I started writing to kind of pay the bills because it was something that I'd done a lot of and I was kind of good at. And then, a few years went by and I was writing as a freelancer and doing okay that way. And then someone reached out for a position at a company and said, "Hey, I think you'd be a good fit for this. Uh, would you like to, come work for us for a bit?" And then, here I am. So writing's kind of a weird career. I feel like the only writer that ever just got hired was like the very first one, and every other writer going back from that guy or gal straight to now is someone that was recommended by another writer. So let's see. I've been writing for, let's call it, ooh, gross, almost 15 years professionally. I really kind of goofed off for my 20s. Like I left grad school and I was a writer and I made enough money writing to just sort of like wander around and visit my friends all over the country. And then around the time I got to be 30, my parents were getting a little bit older, and then I needed like a real grown-up job. So I made the switch to the corporate side, and overall it's been a really good decision. And I'm not just saying that because a bunch of them are probably going to watch this. I'm still young. Yeah, I mean, don't don't feel pressured would be my biggest advice. Like writing is something you can do in your spare time with a job or full time. I will say that it does take a little bit of the fun out of it. Like now that I wake up and I write all day for money, like I don't write as much stuff for myself as I used to. I don't do as much fun writing because I still have it's hard to go, okay, I did this thing all day. Now I'm going to do more of it for fun. I want to go use that time to hang out with my girlfriend or go, I don't know, paragliding or whatever I want to do with my time. Go camping, go work out, all that other stuff that I do for fun. Uh, so like these days, I've gotten really into photography, and I do that. I deliberately don't do that for any kind of money because I like to have an artistic hobby that I can do just for me. Um, as far as writing for a job, it's going to be a really interesting time. Like this stuff that I'm playing with right now is going to mean I think that like one of the reasons I've been going through this so heavily is I think not now, but in about 5 years' time, a lot of the job that I do currently is going to be handled automatically by language learning models like ChatGPT or Bard, and what I'm going to be doing is more like a management style where I'm coming up with ideas, and at the end of this process, I'm polishing those ideas. I'm taking them to a professional level. But the AI is really good at like the 80% of writing that's in between those two things, or 90% of writing, right? Like there's the idea and then there's the finished product, but there's this slog down the middle. And I think they're going to need fewer writers, and a lot of us are going to be it's going to pay to be technical. And I mean, you're young, so you're going to come into this baseline more technical than most of us are. Like, I'm a pretty uh, technically adept guy and scientifically minded guy, and I'm playing catch up here. And I think I'm ahead of the curve. I think I've got, I don't know, I know maybe two or three other writers that are where I am right now in my overall network in terms of understanding this stuff. And it's it's crazy. It's going to be an interesting time. But the thing is, like, anytime anything like this is creating chaos and change, that is simultaneously the toughest time to get into something and the best time. Yeah, you're Gen Z, and you grew up with technology. Exactly. I mean, that's exactly it. But they give us just like a topic. We create a different story. I do art, painting, cosplay for fun too. That's really cool. Um, yeah. So you're gonna be walking into a little bit of a different world. Like, I can give advice about like what good writing looks like, but it's really hard for me to give any like writing career advice at all right now because there is this massive flux going on right now in terms of what professional writing is going to look like. And I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm already using it to put out more writing in a week than I could do in a month in my spare time. Like I've started, it's got me writing more stuff for fun again because I'm still like I'm not using any of this at work yet because, well, for a whole host of reasons. But uh, in my spare time, it's been fun to play around with it, and it is a massive, massive boost to my productivity. You should be excited. Absolutely. I think a lot of people are really worried this is going to replace writers and replace creativity, and that's just not how it's going to work. I I can't envision it working that way. Unless you're, how should I put this? It won't replace good writers, is maybe the most diplomatic way to put that. But I do think there will be fewer overall writing jobs. So something's got to give somewhere there. And I expect I'll be doing a lot of stuff like this. I'm learning Python right now, which is a coding language, particularly because I want to interact with the APIs that you use to talk to these programs, because I want to be able to build programs that talk to these models, so I'm not so that I can instruct it basically on here's how I want you to write. Here's how the sort of output I'm looking for, and I can build in multiple tones and voices into things so that I can potentially have an article written in one voice, and then we can just shift it to another voice at like the touch of a button. And I'm really excited to see how some of that stuff works. Shopify is, hold on here, let me see if I can wrap this up. This is going to be a really long video to link to for my poor coworkers, but they can just skip through parts of this. It's fine. They know that I can't keep focused on anything for longer than like the time it takes a squirrel to run by. All right. Shopify is specifically designed for e-commerce websites. Um, One advantage of Shopify is that see, we could say Shopify has, but in this case, we'll just say it has because we had a really nice short sentence up here that started with Shopify, so they know. There's a lot of built-in e-commerce features, such as payment processing and shipping options. Shopify also has a large selection of apps and plugins to add additional functionality. Now, what do you see here? Add additional functionality. In no place ever will you need to say add additional ever. So add functionality to your online store. In this case, we don't have to say, however, one disadvantage of Shopify. We will say, because I'm playing around with this a little bit, and we've gotten rid of most of these. Um, Hold on, I got distracted here and forgot to finish up Weebly, because you could see that it was very, very repetitive. It was the same formula over and over. Weebly is, there's that again. Not as customizable as some other website builders. Pricing for Weebly's plans range from, oh, since you are also a bit ADD and a writer, one piece of advice I will give you that is absolutely clutch for you to make you look professional and to help you keep track of your life is whether it's in Word or Google Docs. They have both of them have really good outlining stuff built in, and you can basically create an outline here just by adding the correct weight of like headers H1, H2, H3. Get in the habit of doing that as you go so you can bounce around to wherever you need to be and that like little level of organization will make your life so much better, but it'll also make you look just way more professional, because a lot of people don't do that, partly because like they're people whose brains can actually focus on things for minutes at a time. But when you're working with other people, which you will spend a lot of time working with other people, probably. I mean, even if you go pure like I'm a fiction writer, you work with multiple editors, you work with publishers, you work with beta readers. Like so many people read what you work on. It's not like just you sitting alone in a cabin, like maybe for the rough draft, but like you work with other people. And if they can see where you are and navigate things effectively, it makes their lives easier and it makes you look good. So that's one tip I can give you that will absolutely help you out going forward. It also makes it really easy to edit things because you can just basically grab whole sections and move them around where you want them to be. All right, let's continue through this. Shopify is specifically designed for e-commerce websites. Um, it has a lot of. Now, here's a fun tip for making things less formal. It has a. It's got. If you want things to sound, it sounds a little weird when you say got a lot, but if you want things to sound the way people are actually speaking, people use the word get a lot when they're talking, and it barely ever appears in writing. It's just one of those weird idiosyncrasies between how we talk and how we write. But it's making things like that, changing little things like that, make people read stuff in a different voice, like their internal narrator, and it makes it the whole thing. It primes everything that comes after it to be read in a more like friendly, human, informal sort of way. Like it's got is a signal that the human wrote that, and you hear a human talking to you, even though ironically a human did very little of the writing here. Shopify also has a large selection of apps and plugins to add functionality to your online store. However, that's fair. All right, GoDaddy's websites plus marketing builder is a website builder. It's popular for its ease of use. It comes one advantage of this website builder, so that's actually a pretty good transition, that sort of acknowledges that it said this line multiple times already, but we're still going to get rid of it because it's way better to be brief, right? It comes with a lot of built-in marketing tools such as SEO, and we already did such as somewhere up there. So we're going to do including. Uh, Anytime you can slap like an active verb, like anything that has like an ing on it in there, is usually a win. Let's see, selection of GoDaddy's website builder. We're going to just get rid of this because this thing has a horrendously long name, which I told them when they were picking it, and also has a large selection of templates to choose from, so you can find one that fits your brand. All right, here is an instance of that where that is actually being used in a non-stupid way. So you can find one that fits your brand. So that's a that actually should be there. However, it's not as customizable as some other website builders. Pricing. Okay. In conclusion, choosing the right website builder depends. Okay, here's a tip for unless you're writing a high school or junior high or whatever paper, um, in which case it's probably a good idea. You never actually need to say in conclusion because like that's that's what a conclusion is, right? Like it's just a completely pointless phrase. The only one that's dumber that I can think of is saying in short, because it makes the sentence longer, or in brief. If you're looking for a user-friendly website builder with lots of options, if you're looking for a website builder with e-commerce features, technically websites plus marketing also, I like how it puts builder on the end of it every time, is a good option. Technically this also has a pretty solid e-commerce suite. Make sure you read the fine print and choose a plan that fits your needs. And all right, so what we've got here is an edited version of this. So now we can go back over here and say, in the future, use a more active tone and focus on concise sentences. I edited the article above to show you how. All right. That time it didn't work right. It's just rewriting it. But let's see what it did here, because I think this is still going to be better. All right. So you can see this is like an iterative process. You're not going to get it quite right on the first try. Like, but you can see here we now have, aside from it having a few too many hyphens in it, a really clean base article. See how it doesn't use quite as many unnecessary phrases broken off by commas here. There aren't quite as many random howevers and such built into it. There's actually variety. It looks like it was written by a human now. There's some things, let's see. Actually, let's play around with something right now. Change. And all uses of e-commerce to e-commerce. All right, let's see what it does. Pricing for Wix. Now you can see how it picks up some things really, really well, and others not as well. Like you see how it figured out that I wanted pricing to be broken out in each line? That's pattern recognition, and it is super good at that, especially for simple patterns. Like it's going through there, and it's just seen and noted that pricing is always on its own line. Anywhere there is pricing, the way the computer looks at it, it's saying, okay, anywhere where pricing takes place, there's a line break above and a line break below. Now, occasionally that can do like really, really ridiculous things. I think my favorite recent example that I heard is like they use a similar model to this to try to recognize malignant skin cancers, so like dangerous moles basically. And what they did was they fed it thousands of pictures of benign freckles and moles and thousands of pictures of malignant uh, freckles and moles. And here's the funny thing. So what the AI realized when it went through all the data was that the number one sign that a freckle was malignant was if there was a ruler in the picture, because diagnosed pictures of melanomas almost always had a ruler in the like to show how big it was, whereas just pictures of regular freckles almost never had rulers. So the AI, it it doesn't have anything that resembles cognizance or common sense. What it understood here was it just draws conclusions based on the data we give it. And the data we gave it led to the very straightforward conclusion that rulers gave you cancer. But yeah, so it's really good at pattern recognition. That is both a pro and a con in the system. All right, Wix is one of the most popular websites. All right, so that's good enough for now because I just wanted to have something in here that I could cut out as a highlight later and uh, post for my coworkers who wanted to know how we did that. Um, when we're talking about like Medium articles here, I just started this like I guess a week and a half ago. Not many views yet, but that's fine because again, a week and a half. But I have turned out, whoa, 7 fans now. Um, a kind of ridiculous number of articles here using AI, considering that I'm doing this in my spare time. But we're gonna see if we can. Let's see how many articles I have set up tonight. Like, see how many articles I have right now. So I have 8 published. Let's look at maybe doubling that. Let's see if I can get through enough articles for the entire week tonight in the next hour, hour and a half. Nice. Yeah, ruler. Yeah. Um, this is fun. If you haven't played around with this, this is Midjourney. I use it to do a lot of like my uh, like I guess you wouldn't call it cover art, but like for the articles I write. It's fun to just have. Yeah. Like all these are generated by AI, which is sometimes really impressive. Like I thought these were pretty solid. I made like a version for ChatGPT and then another version for Google's AI. But like there were some pretty funny like missteps. Like look at this like absolute nightmare fuel that it created for me. Dude, you're gonna give us all cancer. Stop posting those rulers all over the place. But I mean, look at this. Look at this. Like, look at the face on this robot. Look at the face on these faces on these people. Like, and it does really genuinely look like some 19 um 30s or 40s art. Like it does. It looks dead on. It did a good job. It's just extremely creepy. Yeah. Yeah, like these ones, really simple instructions. It doesn't always do great. Like I was trying to get it to do a version of like a robot painting for one of the things I was working on, and it just kind of kept not quite getting it right. Took a long time to figure it out. Kept doing things like a person painting a robot, or like the robot painting is just like completely off to the side. Like you see this guy's painting the empty air like 4.5 feet from the canvas. This guy was sort of on it. This one's got a weird CGI lady painting a robot that's also coming off of the screen. I don't know. This one was pretty good too. I actually don't know why I didn't do a couple more versions of that one because that one turned out pretty well. But yeah, Midjourney is a lot of fun. And then this is somebody's article on how to do more out of it. Anything you do with AI, it really comes down to learning how to talk to the AI effectively. So learning how to do the prompts and giving it input that gives you the output that you want is not easy, but fun. And like this guy obviously has gotten some incredible output. He was working on facial expressions. So like if you're doing like a book or something, you don't want an entirely new character. Like if you had a comic or something, you wouldn't want an entirely new character each frame. So he's trying to get it to produce like essentially the same person in the same style, but with different facial expressions. And like obviously it's got some work to do there. but it's still impressively good for something that's, basically 3 months old. All right. Let's see here. Let me throw that over there so it stops getting in my way. New tab we can get rid of. What's this? 10 most popular college majors. All right, yeah, all right. So here's what I was gonna do. AI and you, how screwed is your major? We're actually gonna get rid of everything that was here earlier because the reason I left this unfinished was really I just wasn't thrilled with the article it put together. All right. Let's see here. We're gonna use bestcolleges.com as a source. It's not the ideal source, but it's an okay source. Oh, hey, and one thing you're going to want to do you uh, whenever you use anything like ChatGPT, it has a tendency to hallucinate things, which is just a way of saying it gets things wrong. That's just the term they use for it. But the thing is, it will be equally confident when it is telling you true information and or false information. So it's not like a human where you can kind of gauge whether or not they know what they're talking about. But the way you get around that is you have it source with provided sources, everything it's telling you, and that pretty much gets rid of the issue. So like, let's see here. Formal assistance required. I was really bummed out earlier. I was trying to get it to, I was trying to actually build a shortcut coding language for this, so that a lot of the stuff that I use as prompts in like full sentence form, I could just abbreviate to like single sentence or single words. But it just wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out why. I may come back to it later, but uh, we'll get there eventually. All right, new. All right, create an article outlining the top 10 college majors. Let's see. Optimize it for optimize. Optimize it for performance on medium. Letting the top 10 college majors optimize it. Provide 200 word or less summary for each major. The number of students each major sourced, and the average, we'll do the median income sourced for each. Describe 3 ways, positive or negative, that AI will impact each major. All right, so like I said earlier, a big part of this is trying to figure out how to get the results you want. And it's a little bit hit or miss right now. All right. Political science, history. Inclusion AI will have a huge impact on, whoops. Didn't quite finish, did it? All right. The other thing it didn't do is source any of this shit. All right, hold on here. Provide sources for each government statistics where possible. We'll say using. Let's try it again. All right, while it's doing that, we're going to hop over here to Bard, which is ChatGPT, but Google's version. And we're going to compare the two, see how they do. So far, I've been impressed with many aspects of Google, and then just wildly unimpressed with other aspects of it. You notice that it has a much leaner and nicer output, but at the same time, it did not source anything like I asked it to, and it didn't actually manage to finish it. I think I just ran up against what probably the character limit would be here too. It's really doing a poor job here. Only 583 words. That can't be a limit. Let's try regenerating the response. All right, let's see. It's doing better. Marketing, accounting. Okay, we're to 8 now. I'm seeing sources. I'm seeing clean writing. I'm willing to cut it off at 9 complete sentences and call it good. All right. Now comes the human part of this. Whew. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Chances are if you're in college or will be soon, you're going to rolled under the umbrella these majors. Now the plan here is I'm going to create like a list, like a short list of these to drive people in. And then I'm going to have a companion expanded article for each, which should basically get people caught in like a little bit of a click loop, clicking through all of my articles. Hopefully, we'll see. Fortunately, a lot of what I do is that, um, one way or another. Like no matter what you're doing, if you're a writer, your job is essentially to engage people. I've done political writing, which I didn't like much at all. I've done like writing for politicians. I've done book editing of various sorts, which I kind of liked. It was kind of fun. Um, I've done reporting, which I liked a bit, but is a terrible industry to be in right now because there are just massive, massive layoffs all the time of reporters, and they're probably not coming back anytime soon. If anything, this ChatGPT stuff will be another nail in the coffin for traditional reporting. Oh, and then like a lot of blog writing as a freelancer, a lot of bios and stuff like that. I did some, I've done ghostwriting for books. That's a lot of fun. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much all the same. Your job is to communicate effectively with people and get them to do something you want them to do. It doesn't really matter if it's fiction, nonfiction, or you're writing emails to get people to click buttons. It's all about sort of predicting and guiding people down a path that you want them to take inside their own heads, which is often very difficult, but almost always rewarding, in my opinion. I'm breaking my own rules there. Let's take. Always be active when you can. Abbreviations are good, except when they sound weird. There's nothing wrong with saying stuff out loud. That's often the best way to decide whether or not it sounds weird or not. All right. We're not going to do this as a listicle because those are outdated. Computer science, we're going to do this as a secondary header. Computer science with over. Oh, all right. It didn't provide sources with links, which is super annoying. So let's go back through here. Same article, but with links to the sources. All right, good, good, good. We will just hop on over here. Not that one, that's the one I wrote earlier. But we're gonna find a way to blend that in here. News is we're not die in a robot apocalypse anytime soon. Are about to get shaken up a bit. Let's take a look. All right, robot apocalypse anytime soon. Then we will add that, and you can see now we've got a link off to one of our other articles ready to go, built in, and that is sort of how you want to do anything like this, because if you are going to go through the trouble of doing the work, you want to go through the trouble of doing the work in a way that you get maximum reward out of it. You don't have to do things all over again. right. Basically, make sure that every little bit of work you do does as much work for you as it possibly can. It's the only way to have a decent income and any spare time at all to enjoy that income with. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that it was straight up the most popular major in the US. It's just over AI. All right. Screwdriver. Let's say we'll say we'll keep that up here. Surprisingly, not at all. A lot of menial coding tasks are about like whole new fields about up. You'll be managing getting more done with less effort. All right, business. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments or whatever, speak on up. It's always more fun if I'm interacting with people because I can just sit here and write, but I mean, that can't be the most entertaining thing to witness. Business. See, get rid of that. Oh, hey, let's pop over here real quick. See how these turned out. Yeah, those actually turned out pretty good. A lot of times with this stuff, like the longer you look at it, the less sense it makes. All right, let's see. We need an article like headline image for that. A humanoid robot wearing a college graduation gown and hat. 1940s poster style. Graduation. Poster style, we're going to go with, what would that be? Pastel. Clean lines. Deep colors. Realistic. And then let me remember the command for aspect ratio. It's dash dash AR, and then the ratio will do 3:2. And that's going to determine, how tall, skinny, fat, or square the image is. All right, so we got that rolling. Ethical challenges in the business world. followed him, right? Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Control V. How screwed are you? Depends on your specialty. Times are going to be tough for traders, accountants, analysts. But not at all. Maybe interesting new fields emerging. Um, all right. Psychology. I might actually need to do more research on this one because the other two I'd already looked up a lot of background stuff on. Psychology, not as much. I'm kind of shocked that psychology is the third most popular major because, like, it doesn't seem like there are that many psychologists in the world. Oh man, a couple of these are really good. I kind of like how nerdy this dude is. This guy's like super sad. And this guy just looks cool. The only thing I don't like about him is the color scheme. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do variations on why do they look so sad? They're graduating college. This is the only one that looks like he's happy to be there. Alright. We're gonna do variations on 2 and variations on 3. This goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So variations on this guy and this guy. And then it's running that. That's fine. You can kind of see how this works. It's kind of cool. It's sort of it's looking at a gajillion images and sort of tracing them and narrowing it down to like what something is supposed to look like. Almost like sculpting by taking away clay, or tracing by tracing a whole bunch of images until you have something unique. But it's cool to watch it happen in real time. I like that they do that instead of just having it in a black box where you can't see what's ongoing. God, this guy still looks like a huge derp. Alright. Kind of like that one. I like the coloration. I like the way the overall aesthetic looks. He's about the right amount of shininess for me for a title image, but I think we're going to go with one of these. I think I like this one because it looks the most human, and it's kind of smug about him too. So we're going to upscale that one. There we go. We'll open that in browser. We will save image as. We will save it. All right. Psychology is the third most popular. As. Right. We're going to look at that. That. Control V. let's just go ahead and ask new chat. How will AI impact psychology in the next 1, 5, and 10 years? So here we give it multiple options for time because that'll give us a better feel for how long it's going to take for each of these effects to be felt, which overall it's sort of just open-ended unless you give it time constraints. One of the biggest things you can do with any of the uh, what are they NLGs or NGLs or whatever they are, any of the ChatGPT or Bard type AIs, is you have to constrain what you ask them for, and that'll give you much better results. Like if you're saying, don't just say write me this, say write me this with, in active tense, write me this in 500 words, write me this in this format, write me this with 1, 2, 5, whatever years broken out, so that it has to provide you with stuff. Because it's not, for what it is, it's very good at inferring what you mean, but it still needs as many cues as you can give it to give you the right thing. AI is definitely going to impact psychology. Here's what I think might happen. Okay. These are all going to follow a pretty similar core. Let's see. Therapies. All right, so that's reasonable. How screwed are you? Short term, you're cool. Long term, might want to go back to school. So at first, AI is going to help with diagnosis and possibly, as it already is, with helping people live healthier lifestyles. Long term, it's probably going to take over many related tasks up to and including therapy. Let's see. Biology. All right, getting close to home here. Revolutionize the field of biology by learning faster. All right, this is going to be a good one. Okay. Measures. All right. Now the most important thing you have to do here is make sure that what you're saying is somewhat related to the truth. One thing I always do from an ethical standpoint is make sure that it is clear at some point here that it is written at least partially by AI. All right. Um, oh, wait, this is just going to be bold. You're cool. This is going to make data analysis easier. Protein structure determination and DNA analysis faster. But most of what actually do AI won't be doing anytime soon. All right. Nursing, this is going to be a hot button one, isn't it? All right. Let's get back over to here. Let's look at nursing. All right, and we're going to do, for each of these, a more in-depth article that links out. So that's going to be far more sourced and in-depth and back up, each thing I'm saying here. Or if it doesn't end up backing it up and I learn more, these will be changed to reflect a more accurate view of the data. All right. And of course, like, all of this is supposition, which I'm going to put up here. Actually doesn't matter if I make that period italic because an italic period looks the same as a non-italic period, but I don't care. It's the principle of the thing. All right. The nursing one will actually change into a medical one overall, like the article that we link to. It'll deal with doctors and stuff too. You is about to get easier. AIs at handling paperwork, mission stuff, double checking dosages, all that stuff. AI leave with more time to do crazy things like take care of patients. Marketing. Oh man, marketing is gonna be, whoo boy. I mean, it's gonna depend on your specialty, but it's gonna be rough. Let's put it that way. Stream, read only. What's this? Hmm. Let's see if I can figure that out. Anyway, refocusing, 63,000 students enrolled. That's a lot of students for marketing. All right. Now, in practice, there's sort of like two types of marketers. There's like mathematically oriented marketers, and then there's like conceptually oriented marketers. And mathematically oriented marketers are going to do really well. And the more conceptual people that are like, I have ideas and I know things about stuff, and I'm going to intercede in this project, and I'm going to be involved, and I'm going to make sure that everyone can see that I'm involved, but I'm not actually going to contribute anything useful or do any work. They're going to have a tough time, I think, with this transition, because it's just going to be really clear that they aren't doing anything very quickly. Or maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. Control V. What? What's going on? Are we frozen? Oh no. Well, we'll let that be frozen for a second. We'll see how things are going over here. That's done. I think I'm going to do one more iteration of him though. So this is one weird thing. It has yet to make me, when I ask you to make a robot, they are all dudes, not one girl robot, which is weird because I'd almost expect it to be the other way. Like originally when I was doing this, I was thinking I was gonna have to filter out a lot of like overly sexualized female-esque robots from my uh, requests of Midjourney, just because it's basing this off of art and stuff that's out there. But instead, we're getting basically these doofuses. Mm, nope, this guy's the best so far. We're gonna keep him. All right. Okay, apparently this is truly frozen, so we're gonna refresh it and hope we didn't lose too much. I haven't actually tried to open anything in a while. Is my internet gone? Nope, we're good. Cancel. Let's see. Nope, gonna have to. Oh, wow, it actually froze it with it there. That's weird. Um, very weird. Well, we'll just have to go back and get that from over here. We'll just pop in here, grab that. Hope it doesn't have a meltdown again. Whoop, that's not right. Pay attention to those details. All right, there we go. Median salary for marketing major, blah, blah, blah. Oh God, more targeted advertising? That sounds like a nightmare. How screwed are you? Good. And we're going to put an asterisk here, especially because it's marketers. Just for my amusement. So aren't good at the about as useful as screen door on a space shuttle. Oh, accounting. Oh, so it's separated out business and accounting. That changes things. All right, that's okay. We can work with that. God, accountants are in big trouble. Get rid of that. Depends on your specialty. Kinda. Well, we'll get rid of the maybe a lot since accountants are their own thing. How screwed are you? Weird. Okay. There we go. All right. AI is, we'll do computers are good at math. AI is natural, was it? Show you the constituent parts. Okay, yeah. Just making sure something I was going to say here was correct. So we'll actually say NLP AI is really good at turning human input into data, at doing on large data sets. to data sets, which I think is one word actually these days. Ah, the joys of an evolving language. It's really good. Not too much need for accounts. It's not going to disappear as a profession. As a profession, but it definitely doesn't look like a growth industry from where we're standing today. English, oh boy. I wonder if Leo's still on. Which reminds me, go over here to the Bureau of actually, we're gonna cut it off at accounting, I guess. Nah, we're going to keep English on here because I already have a good article ready to go. We're to political science. We don't care about that. Okay. Let's pop back over here to accounting. Get that last source off there. However, AI will impact English majors by providing new tools for analysis and interpretation of literature. I don't think that's in the top 10 ways AI is going to impact English majors. Come on. All right. Good at writing stuff. Screwed are you? Depends on you. Going to be fewer jobs for writers, and AI is going to effectively raise the ability of any MOOC off the street to a high level of competence. But all hope is not lost. All right, so here is where we're going to add one of the articles that I've already done. Making music tagging AI explainable through source separation. That is a really cool idea. All right. I was kind of curious about that, but now is not the moment for it. Publish 8 ChatGPT and Bard debate the death penalty. Okay. PAL, language farming, AI proofing your writing career. There we go. Find your major here. Don't worry. I'll add more in the future. Did find your major. Now you are freaking out. Take a deep breath. Moments disruption are challenging. They take our human plans, break them. Here's the truth about your life plan. It already wasn't going to go according to plan. Broad strokes, maybe. But I guarantee you, always going to be unexpected changes and challenges. Don't waste a moment worrying about what you might have been, and focus on how you become want to be. Moments of disruption, also moments of opportunity. It's a new world, era, and you're standing at the start of it. With one foot is embrace. How about embrace the challenges? All right, there we go. I think that's a nice optimistic exit to this otherwise relatively bleak article. I'm going to finish it up with a link to yet another one of my articles. Why? Because I can. And because you gotta make everything you do work as hard for you as possible. Wait, what? Huh. That was a moment of abject and total confusion on my part. Alright. There's always full. There's always reasons to be hopeful. I may actually expand that. It would be nice to write something without AI. Are invented by AI. Alright, the other thing I need to do is insert the image. Ba ba ba. So many robots. There you are. Alright, do we want to publish this one now or do I want to publish it in the morning? I'm going to publish it in the morning. Alright. Artificial intelligence. College. Job market. Jobs 76,000. Job market. Only 752. That might be a really good place to hang out. What else? Science and technology. And as ever, writing, because I am a writer. Alright, meter your story, send link to your email, schedule for later. Is today the 8th? Dear God, time flies. Alright, 09/3 at 10:10 a.m. because I'm lazy. Alright. Let's look at some of the top majors. US, evaluate how much trouble they're in. Alright, I'm also going to do one that's jobs that won't exist in 10 years. Alright, schedule to publish and send. Alright. We're going to do add the publication, the Electric Muse. Huh. Whatever, I'll fix that tomorrow. Won't exist in 10 years. We're going to put trucking right up there. Alright, that's just going to be a draft until I can come back to it and that. Stories. If anybody's actually on here. Oh, somebody is watching. Cool. Thank you. Wait. Let's fix that. Wait a minute. Where is... Can I just delete this? Delete draft. Delete draft. Super major. Alright. Story. I may change the title of this. Let freak you out. My recent articles. To future college students. It made me think, which is always a dangerous thing. Coworkers are stress, or experiencing stress, anxiety, AI, impact on their future. Realized worthy of its own post. Here goes. Okay. When things don't go according to plan. Divorce. Jobs. Suddenly. People get major. Wars happen. Leave control more than we do. The world. While pretending life can be, it's going to be both. If AI and Embrace what? Embrace now? Just embrace something. No. Actually, that's not bad. We need to. As long as you hang on. This is a new world, a new era. In a unwritten chapter, embrace challenges. Reasons to be hopeful, and hopefully, one of them. All right, where was stories? Keep out. 10 years. There we go. Bloop, 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 bloop. Be hopeful. Um, Possible times certain hmm, bad. Is it a bad pun or did I just coin a new term? I can't wait to find out. All right. As long as you hang on. So moments of disruption are also moments of opportunity. This is a new world, a new era, and you're standing at the start of it. And you're standing with one foot on one page of history and the other in an unwritten chapter. It's possible you'll face tough times, certain you'll face extraordinary times, and those make people extraordinary. Make extraordinary people. Make extraordinary. Embrace the challenges, look for the opportunities and new paths, and you'll find your way. There's always reasons to be hopeful, and hopefully you're one of them. Are experiencing stress and anxiety about AI and its impact on their future. I realize something many people need to hear right now. Here goes. Take a deep breath. Moments of disruption are challenging. They take our little human plans and break them like they're made of spun glass and vanity, which they are for the most part. Here's the truth about your life plan. It already wasn't going to go according to plan. Broad strokes maybe, but I guarantee you there are always going to be unexpected changes and challenges. Solidity was always, will be a little less off in the weeds there. Certainty was always an illusion. So don't waste a moment worrying about what you might have been and focus on how you'll become what you want to be. Marriages end in divorce, jobs go away. Suddenly, healthy people get major curveballs thrown their way. People we love die. Wars happen. We like to believe we control so much more than we do about the world, while pretending we control so much less about ourselves than we're able to. Life can be good or bad, and it's going to be both. If AI comes along and messes with your vision of the future, it's not the end of the world. Not figuratively, and almost certainly not literally. Embrace whatever you want to or need to, as long as you hang on. Because moments of disruption are also moments of opportunity. This is a new world, a new era, and you are standing with one foot. Normally, I like abbreviations because they make things more informal, but in this case, they disrupt the rhythm, right? And you are standing with one foot on one page of history and the other in an unwritten chapter. It's possible, I always say, get rid of that, and then I go and put it in. It's possible you'll face tough times. Certain you'll face extraordinary times. And extraordinary times make people extraordinary. Make extraordinary people. Embrace the challenges, look for the opportunities and new paths, and you'll find your way. Look for opportunities on these ever changing paths, and you'll find your way. There's always reasons to be hopeful, and hopefully you're one of them. Written with no help whatsoever from an AI. All right. Publish. AI future work life, I guess life advice, life hacking. Writing. All right. Schedule for later. 4:09, and we'll change PM to AM, and we'll schedule. All right, cool. And we are not going to write like 10 of these tonight like I was originally planning because I got distracted, but that's okay. It is all right to get distracted. It is all right to spend a little bit of time on something and actually be proud of what you've done. Side note, I just made 3 cents from Medium. But it's my first 3 cents from Medium, so I'm pretty happy with that. Also got a new follower tonight. That's exciting. And I'm going to call it a relatively early night tonight because I've been working all week and this is a lot like work. And I need a little bit of time to unwind, catch up with my girlfriend, and I don't know, maybe do something entirely unproductive and pointless just for the hell of it. Anyway, thank you, everybody who stopped by, everybody who watched, everybody who commented. It's always good to have company on here.